I must go down to the seas again, to the lonely sea in the sky, and all I ask is a tall ship and a star to steer her by, and the wheels kick and the wind's song, and the white sails shaking, and a grey mist on the sea's face, and a grey dawn breaking. Those are the words of John Masefield, but his poem could have been set right here, as we approach Frenchman's Bay on the north shore of Lake Ontario. Welcome to Escapes with Nigel. I'm Nigel Napier-Andrews, and today we're sailing into Pickering Nautical Village, a community of bustling marinas and interesting boutiques, making it a great destination anytime. And on the boat with me today is the proprietor of Swan's Marina, Bernie Lapma, and the guy that knows all about the history of the Pickering Nautical Village.
Great.
Well, Bernie, this is a great day for a sail.
Yeah.
And it's probably a great day for a beginner to go sailing because there's not too much wind. People who come to the marina, you know, might be novices, might not know exactly what they're doing. But is this a good place to learn how to sail as well?
Absolutely. We actually have a sailing school.
Yeah.
We have a chap named Ron who has a beautiful Catalina 309, which is a 30-foot sailboat and takes a lot of people out sailing. You can take a full course, or you can take a partial course. So there is all the opportunity to do that.
So what's some of the first things you talk about when a newbie comes on the boat?
I ask the person, do you know how to swim?
Ah, yes.
And if you don't know how to swim, please wear a life jacket.
Right. Bernie, what's the most significant change in the nautical village in the last little while?
Well, the one you'll be experiencing shortly when we're sailing into the bay. There's a brand new channel, 100 feet wide, 14 feet deep, with 2 break walls going right out. That is awesome. It is absolutely one of the biggest things that ever happened to Frenchman's Bay. The second most important thing that happened was actually the development of Liverpool Road, where they put in the new condo units with commercial units down below. The Nautical Village formulated out of that. They have a lot of events that they organize there, strawberry festivals, this festival, that festival. I think they have like 7 or 8 festivals throughout the whole summer. And that draws a lot of people in, which is very nice. So I think the bay itself over the next 3-4 years is going to become a huge destination place for boaters, which it wasn't before. It was a place you avoided because of the channel.
The channel entrance was first constructed in the 1840s. Over 170 years later, the harbour is still a hub of nautical activity and has just been completely rebuilt.
The whole spit to the left used to be privately owned, is now all publicly owned, and that's now all a park, where they've redecorated and replanted the whole area with local plants.
This picturesque destination by the lake features weekend music at Millennium Square. There's a great new boardwalk part of the Waterfront Trail, which one day will stretch from Niagara-on-the-Lake to the Quebec border. Along its main thoroughfare, there are cafes, restaurants, and shops. Soap. Well, that'll clean up my act. Good morning, Margot. How are you today?
Good morning, Nigel.
This really smells like a soap shop, but these look like cakes. How on earth do you get those fantastic effects?
We found a trick as the soap sets up that we can put it in a regular piping bag and pipe it to make it look like that.
And these, dare I ask, are these real cherries and candies, or
No,
are they
it's
all
all
soap?
soap.
It's all soap, everything.
Yes,
Nautical Village seems like a great destination. How long have you been here?
I've been here 5 years.
You're very involved in the community and
Yes.
all sorts of things in the community. What do you do to help the community sort of grow?
We do Sundays on the porch where we invite vendors down to enjoy our porches outside, and it's a great tourist attraction.
Oh my goodness. So you're busy all week making soap,
Yes,
and then
we
you
are.
sell them all mostly on the weekend.
Yes, we did.
What is so special about these interesting soaps, and how did you come up with the idea of making them look like cakes and candies and bonbons and all the other things that they look like? None of them look like soap.
Well, we started off with our regular plain bars and they got a little boring. So we learned how to pipe the soap in a regular piping bag to make it look like desserts.
Margot, these cakes honestly look good enough to eat.
Thank you.
Does anybody ever eat them?
Yes, we've had some children take a bite of them.
That would be giving new meaning to the expression wash your mouth out.
Yes, it does.
Well, I'd love to try and make one of these things and see how they are. Can I do that with you?
Yeah, we can go back to the soap kitchen and whip up a batch.
Well, let's do that.
Okay.
Okay, so what are you doing now?
Okay, we've whipped up a batch of soap and we were just waiting on it to set up to the consistency of regular icing. And it looks like we're getting there right now. So we're just gonna put it in a piping bag and Jenna's gonna show you how to pipe it. There you go.
So you're going to be a good teacher for how to do this. All right.
There we go.
Should we do this little row here first as a trial? Ooh, that does look good enough to eat. All right, shall I try one?
Yes.
Okay. It's quite hot, isn't it?
Yes. Oh,
That's
Nigel, you're hired.
Not too bad. Let's see if we can do a better one. Extra little boink.
Perfect. And all
Well, there
you
you
have
go.
left to do is put a cherry on top. Perfect.
Oh, there you are, Jackie. How are you?
Nice to see you, Nigel.
You know, I was just across the road looking at soap cupcakes, which looked really delicious, but these are really delicious. We can actually eat these ones, can't we?
For sure, yes.
And what else do you make?
We make scones, we make wedding cakes, birthday cakes, we do lunches, sandwiches, salads, a whole variety of things every day.
And that'd be a great reason for people to come down to the Nautical Village and visit with you.
For sure, yes.
What else goes on in the Nautical Village?
Oh, there's loads of things, especially on the weekend and long weekends, there's always something. There's lots of action. Thursday nights they have music by the bay, and there's different groups that come down and play. They're really, really good. Come early and bring your own chair and sit down and listen to the music. It's free.
So Jackie, what brought you to the Nautical Village?
We've always loved the area, and it's something that I always wanted to do is open a bake shop. And when the opportunity arose, we came down this way. There's lots of things to do in the area. There's lovely shops and boutiques, and there's restaurants, and there's the beach at the end. It's just such a nice, friendly area.
And you also make not only these delicious looking cakes and squares and brownies, and have some of them got unusual fillings? I sort of sense that there are different things here.
Oh, we have all sorts of different things, but we have one thing in particular, specially made for you. And this is our chocolate zucchini cake.
Chocolate zucchini escapes with Nigel cake. Wow, that's wonderful. Hello.
How are you?
I think this is exactly what I was looking for. Keep calm and carry on. I need that every day.
Well, we should all keep calm.
You have some lovely stuff in this shop.
Oh, thank you.
How long have you been here?
10 years.
So you're one of the originals shops in the village.
Yes.
And how has the village grown, and what do people think of the village when they come here?
They love the uniqueness. They're in a different mindset. They're more in holiday mood than a shopping mood.
So in a sense, it's like a traditional village where everybody knows everybody and everybody may know each other's business.
I think that was the concept.
Right, and it seems to be working well, doesn't it?
I hope so.
Good. Well, listen, this is exactly what I want. Can I get one of those to see?
Certainly. Shall
All right.
we? We'll
Let's
take it
go
in the
up and,
box.
pay for it. From the Nautical Village, I'm off to Pickering's Museum Village, where we'll travel back in time to Ontario's pioneer days. Now all I need is a change of wardrobe. I'm here at the Pickering Museum Village to meet Katrina Pike, who's going to show me around. And don't you think this is a splendid way to arrive in style? Good day to you, gentlefolks. In the village, a collection of amazing original buildings from the mid-1800s have been saved from destruction and brought together for our present-day enjoyment. Katrina, how old is this place? How long has the Pickering Museum Village been here?
Well, in this location, we've been here in Greenwood since 1979, but the museum itself has existed since 1959.
So it was somewhere else?
It was 3 kilometers up the road in the village of Brome.
And, well, 3 kilometers seems a lot of buildings to move just for 3 kilometers. Why is that?
Well, the original museum property was on the airport lands, and so when the airport was announced, the museum needed to find a new location, and I think they found the perfect location here in Greenwood.
It's certainly really pretty. I can hear the blacksmith banging away in the background. There's all sorts of characters in the houses waiting for us to visit with them. But what's the really key reason people come to the village?
We bring history to life. We allow people to touch, feel, smell, and completely immerse themselves in the 1900s, the early 1800s, straight through. We have a great camp program. We have a drop-in children's program in the summer on Thursdays. We have special events that go on. We have something we call History in Action Saturdays, where there's a different theme or focus for people to get their hands on history when they come. And we have outstanding education programs.
How authentic are these buildings?
They're all authentic buildings.
How fantastic that they were all able to be gathered here and create the semblance of a village as it might have been in the 1850s, 60s, 70s perhaps.
That's our goal.
Tell me a little bit about the history of some of them.
The Brome Temperance House in particular is a building that was operated as a hotel from about the 1840s on in Brome. So we have restored it as a temperance hotel. We're one of the few museums in Ontario that tells the story of the temperance movement in the 1850s.
And refresh me, temperance meaning I can't get a beverage there?
Lips that touch liquor shall never touch mine.
How quaint. How Victorian.
Indeed.
And what are some of the other buildings?
We have a log house that represents early settlement in the early 1830s of Pickering Township. We have a tradesman's house that represents 1850. A finer home for an established family, not a wealthy family, but a family that's been in Canada for maybe 20, 30 years that represents 1870. We have a general store, a couple of churches, and a blacksmith shop.
Now also down just a little way away, you have an authentic sawmill and a steam traction engine.
We do. We have a gas and steam equipment area that is part of the Living History Museum. Visitors can see it on special events and on Saturdays when they come. And we do have a restored 1928 steam traction engine built in Waterloo. And we operate her all the time when we have special events. She'll power all kinds of equipment.
You call her she?
She, always.
And what is her name?
Her name is Princess.
How appropriate.
Indeed. She requires a great deal of maintenance and a lot of men around her.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, well, and that sounds like a princess to me.
Yes.
Thank you for the fascinating history tour. Perhaps now we should go and do an actual tour. Where should we start?
Since we've been talking about temperance, why don't we start in the Brome Temperance House?
What a good idea. I'm dying for a drink. Cup of tea. Inside, Guide Julie Oakes tells about life for the innkeeper and guests in the 1800s.
This would be the parlor of the actual family that owned the Temperance House. There's 2 separate sides to the hotel, the public side and the private side. So this is the private parlor where they would have just entertained themselves and their friends. The guests had 2 choices as far as sleeping arrangements. They could sleep in what was known as the flop room. Now, it is a flop room in fact because it is a large room in which there are many mattresses that would have been stuffed with straw, and they would have each been given a mattress and a blanket. You could have been sleeping with a traveling salesman next to you perhaps, and snoring on the other side was perhaps a circuit Methodist preacher, a family of 4 with a baby crying, and then possibly just some people looking for jobs might be drifting through. So there could be anybody sleeping there. Sometimes they would have a rope down the center of the room with a blanket or a sheet on it, and they would say that ladies could sleep on one side and gentlemen on the other, but not all the time. For a few pence more, a little bit more money, they could rent the private room. And in the private room, they actually had their own bed, their own washing facilities, a bowl and ewer, and also their own chamber pot, which would have been quite a nice upgrade. I love to assume different characters and dress in different costumes, and I love to bring what I love about history, my passion for history, I love to share it with other people. And I love to get them interested in history and wanting to know more about not just our village, but history in general.
Is this the oldest building in the property?
This is our oldest building. It's a beautiful log house built about 1820 to 1830.
I see somebody's waiting for us.
Indeed,
Jolly good show.
to welcome you in.
Wonderful. My oh my, Katrina, what are these lovely settler ladies doing in here?
Well, they're doing a little bit of baking in the open hearth, and life was pretty rudimentary at this time point in Pickering settlement. Everything was in this one room. The fire was a source of heat, it was a source of light, and it was, of course, the source for cooking. In the really hot days, they might move outside and do their cooking out there. Today, it's nice and cool, and these women are making bannock.
And what is bannock? I'm not sure I know.
Very, very simple bread.
So with no
Consists-
yeast in it, I suppose.
No yeast at all, largely flour, water, salt.
And fairly tasteless.
Well, you could always add a few things into it if you wanted
Right.
to spice it up a little bit, but it certainly met the needs of the settlers because it didn't take a lot of ingredients.
Right. And there's an extraordinary object on the table here, a white cone that looks completely out of place, but I'm sure it's authentic. What is that?
It is a sugar cone.
A sugar cone?
Yes.
And what would you do with that?
You would nip off pieces of sugar and weigh it for your recipes.
Okay.
There was no refinery in this area until Redpath built a refinery in Toronto closer to the later part of the century. So at this time, the sugar had to be shipped in from the Indies.
Right.
And it came in solid form like that.
Right. Now this extraordinarily sloppy looking bannock is going into the
Yes.
hot griddle.
It'll go on the griddle.
Right.
They'll swing the griddle over the fire where
Right.
it can bake over the heat source.
Just right above the flames.
It is.
And would that not tend to make the bottom get burnt?
It very well might.
And what happens then?
Well, then we would be referring to the upper crust.
Oh, that's where the expression comes from. I
Yes.
didn't know that. So the labouring class would get the burnt bit on the bottom and us toffs would get the nice cooked bit on the top.
You're absolutely right.
Marvellous. You learn something new every day. This is a great place and it must be so much fun working here.
It is a wonderful adventure every day, I have to admit.
Katrina, one of the things I've noticed, there's a huge number of volunteers here. How many volunteers do you have and what do they all do?
We have 275 active volunteers. We have a staff component of 25 people, only 2 full-time staff. We do a lot with a little, and we couldn't get by without the passion and the dedication of our volunteers.
I don't think a lot of people know about this. Is this Pickering's best kept secret?
Well, we'd like the secret to be out of the box, that's for sure. We don't want it to be a secret. We think we have a great thing. We are the largest living history site in Durham region.
Well, thank you so much for letting me wear one of your lovely costumes that I got from your costume department. It makes me feel quite a gentleman.
You look quite the gentleman.
Well, thank you so much, ma'am. It's lovely of you to say so. To cap off a simply splendid day, the engineer kindly allowed me to steer Princess, the traction engine, through the village. Hot work next to the boiler, but at least I get to blow my own horn. Thank you for joining me today at the Pickering Nautical Village and the Pickering Museum Village. For more information, check out their websites, and don't forget to visit my website for all sorts of extras about the show. We'll see you next time on Escapes with Nigel. Let's go, Joe.